Alright, so this will be my review for the movie Election. This came out in 1999. Not exactly sure when I first became familiar with this movie, but it has some pretty big name actors in it from early in their careers. So that's probably why first came across it. But they played it at the Alamo just a couple weeks ago for its election season. So I went to go see it because I've been interested in actually watching this for a while. It's directed by Alexander Payne. It was actually one of his earlier movies. He did Citizen Ruth a couple years before this, but then after this he did About Schmidt, and then Sideways in 2004, which is a really, really good movie. I highly suggest Sideways if you've never seen that. And then more recently he did The Descendants, that's the one with George Clooney. And then just the most recent he did was Nebraska with Bruce Dern. So he directed this, and it's kind of an interesting movie plot-wise. So we kind of are following, I'd say Jim McAllister's the main protagonist. I guess there's kind of dual protagonists, but Jim McAllister's played by Matthew Broderick, aka Ferris Bueller, older Ferris Bueller. But he's a high school teacher at like a small school, and I can't remember. It seems like Minnesota, somewhere up north, Midwest. And he really likes his job, and he's involved with like student government and stuff like that. And one of the girls that's running for student president is Tracy Flick, played by Reese Witherspoon. That was pretty early in her career. She was getting pretty popular at this time, so she did Fear in 1996, Pleasantville a year before this in 98. Then she also did Cruel Intentions, came out in 1999 as well as this movie. So she was pretty popular at the time this came out. And so she's running, her character's Tracy Flick. She's running unopposed for student president. And Jim starts to have like a pretty big grudge against her because she was having an affair with another teacher at the school who was Jim's best friend. So there's this kind of weird dynamic going on between them. He has like this resentment towards her because of what he did to his friend, and the fact that it was like a student teacher, is just another really weird a really weird thing that's going on. And so, kind of in retaliation for Tracy, Jim convinces another student, Paul Metzler, to run for president as well. And Paul is played by Chris Klein. This is actually his first movie. So this came out in 1999, and actually it's the same year as American Pie. So first, I'm not sure exactly which movie came out first in theaters. I'm guessing this did. But and he's like a really popular jock. He's a football player, but he's injured. So Jim convinces him to run for student president as well. And then there's a little bit of like side stories with Paul's sister, Tammy. She's like maybe a lesbian, bisexual, and so then there's like a side story with her and her best friend with Paul. And then there's another side story with Jim and his best friend that was having the affair with Tracy, and that guy's wife and Jim start to have a bit of a relationship too. So there's lots of storylines, but it's easy to follow. It's a pretty good movie. It's pretty interesting. It has a weird vibe to it because it's kind of a high school movie about teenagers, but then it's also more of an adult film about people kind of like in a midlife crisis type thing, especially with Jim and then that other teacher and having these affairs and all that. So it's kind of a weird combination of the two kind of stories combined, but it's done well because it's like it seems like kind of innocent at times, but then it gets pretty vulgar at others. So it kind of hits you off guard. Thought that was pretty interesting. So um, not sure what else to say about it. All the acting's really good. Um, Matthew Broderick's good. Reese Witherspoon's really good. She plays this like super, innocent seeming like country Midwest girl, and like, but then she also has this other side of her that was having an affair with the teacher, but doesn't like show a lot of that. So I don't know. She's pretty good at playing like that sweet innocent girl and stuff. It's kind of funny. I mean, it is pretty funny too. It has its comedic moments. Chris Klein's okay. He's not like a great actor, but he's decent in this. He plays the kind of like that really nice, dim-witted guy. He's just kind of has good intentions. Same kind of role that he played in American Pie. So kind of that similar role. Other than that, not a lot of any other big name actors. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a decent movie. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's kind of weird to who to suggest this to, because I want to say Jim's the main protagonist, and he's like an older, late 30s, early 40s kind of guy, teacher going through like midlife crisis. But there's also like a lot of the stories with Tracy and Paul about teenagers. So it kind of has a weird audience. Like, who is this for? I don't know. I guess I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as a teenager, in high school. But I don't know. Maybe I would have. Anyways, I'm just rambling on. A couple of movie connections that I saw. It's kind of similar to like Rushmore, especially with Tracy's character. She's like a real do-gooder, overachiever, wanting to do really well and stuff. Very similar to Jason Schwartzman in Rushmore. And then kind of had a little bit of a vibe of like Napoleon Dynamite. It's not as like deadpan and goofy as Napoleon Dynamite, but it kind of has the similar vibe in the high school. Just the way it's kind of set up is, it's like realistic and kind of, kind of dull. It's not like super like stylized or heightened like American Pie or anything like that. So yeah, it's a decent enough movie. I'd give it like I said, a 3.5 out of 5. So that'll be it.